Welcome back to episode 5 of our Premiere tutorials. My name is Arnold Faller and today we're going to talk about speed and duration. So how can we adjust the speed of a video clip or any clip, and how can we change or adjust the duration of a picture or a title or something like this. So we are back here in Premiere right now in the editing layout. So the user interface is defined by the editing layout, and I'm in here in my project window. I'm going to start by bringing in a couple of footage, and I'm going to bring in two videos into my footage, and also I have another video which I pull in by drag and drop. One thing that is important, and you can see it right away, the 3 clips that I did with 3 different cameras. Actually, 2 of them are the same camera. You can see they have all different frame rates. So the only one that has 30 frame rates, the frame rates that we work with, is the middle one, and the one has 29.97. That's almost 30, and the other one has 120 frames per second. So this is the one that we're going to use for actually reducing the speed to create a slow-mo image. I have one more thing. I have a piece of text element that I'm also bringing in, and when I import a text element, it's going to ask me a question because it is a Photoshop file. Do you want everything or just the background? I just want one layer, so I'm just picking individual layers and I'm unclicking the background, which is just a white piece. I just want a piece of text, this one. So I'm going to bring in the piece of text right here. So we are ready to create our sequence. So therefore I click on new and choose new sequence, and again I'm choosing the preset for digital SLR for 180p DSLR, 180p 30 frames per second. So that is in HD 1920 by 1080 sequence. So here's my sequence. Here it's open in the timeline, and the first thing that I would like to show you is how to adjust the speed at all. And therefore the first thing that I'm bringing in is the first thing that I would like to show is this video. This video here is about 5 minutes, no, I think it's about 5 minutes long, and I don't want to bring in the whole 5 minutes, and I'm showing you how to do that. So this is a really long video, and I just want to bring in a couple of seconds. Therefore, you double click the video first, which opens the video up here in the source window. So we're not here in our sequence window, but on the left side in the source window, where we also have the effect controls and so on. So here's my video, and now I'm going to move my video, and I'm going to find a position where actually where I have a bag of nuts, and what I'm doing is I'm just pouring the nuts onto the board. So this is the only piece. How I'm going to do it? I'm going to hit play, and I'm going to use the 2 letters I and O on my keyboard. I stands for in point and O for out point. So I'm going to rewind a little bit, and then I hit play, and then I hit I, and I wait till the nuts are all poured onto the board, and then I hit OK. Yes, all of them, and then I hit O. So that basically creates an in point and an out point. So now instead of importing the whole footage, I'm just importing the piece between in point and out point. You just grab the picture and pull it down into your timeline, and you can see now it is a very small sequence. What I want to do is the size does not fit, so I'm going to hit keep the existing settings so that my sequence stays at 30 frames per second, but the video that I imported, when you hold your mouse on it, again, is twice the size. So I did this in 4K, and my sequence is just 2K or less than 2K, it's HD. So what I need to do is select this clip, do a right click, and scale to frame size, or as we did in the previous video, you have to reduce the size to 50%. So here's our first piece, and now the first piece of video where we pour in the nuts on the board. So the same content is also, we can also see on the next video, and that is the one footage that is in 100 frames per second. And when you pull this footage, 100 frames per second, into your timeline, you will notice I did not get a warning. So you don't get the warning. Usually you just get the warning about the sequence settings when the size is different, when the frame rate is different. You don't get it. But still, here's my footage, and it's the same thing where the nuts are all poured onto the table. Here is, I'm going to a different window so you don't see this picture all the time. So here it is, and it is still running in real time. So actually this is running at 120 frames per second. So this is some footage that I can actually slow down. So whenever you slow down or you speed up a footage, when you speed up it doesn't matter, but when you slow down you have to think about the frame rate, because my sequence frame rate is 30. So if I take some other 30 frames footage and I slow it down 50%, so half the speed, I actually end up having only 15 frames. And if you do this too much, you will notice it's not smoothly running anymore, but you get, it looks like a lot of single pictures. So the quality, you should not go below the footage that you have. Still, 30 is good, and I think 20 is still okay, but you don't want to go lower than that. So my 120 frames per second, I can slow it down actually to 25%. Because it's 4 times as much pictures. When I slow it down to 25%, I will still have 30 frames per second. And this is what I'm going to do here in this video, and I'm going to show you how. So first, let's zoom in a bit. Here is my piece of footage, and now you can see it is about, how long is it? Well, to find out, and this is the main function for this tutorial, you select your video footage, you do a right click, and you find the button speed or / duration. Speed means, speed refers to all video footages, duration for all titles and pictures. So right now it's actually speed what we see. So it's running at a speed of 100%, and therefore it is 18 seconds long. So now I'm going to reduce my speed to 25%. And you can now see, instead of 18 seconds or so, it's 1 minute and 12 seconds long. So if you do this, be prepared that the clip suddenly will be much, much longer. So there it is. And here's the clip being much, much longer. Of course, now it's running in 25% of the speed, and you can see every single nut coming in. If there's a soundtrack, and you notice it now, of course, the soundtrack is also slowed down. That means it's much lower, and it feels like some big rocks coming down. Okay, so this is my my nuts falling, and I'm gonna take the clip and take the and I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter, because I'm just interested in the part where the nuts are falling. So I'm not interested in the end, and I'm just smaller. So this is how you change the speed. You can actually also select it, go for speed and duration. See, it's still 25%. This is also the point where you can reverse a footage. Reversing a footage does not change anything, so the length stays the same, only it's running backwards. And okay, not only is it running backwards, it is also not running in real time, because the computer cannot reverse it that easy. So it's running in slow-mo and real time. So let's get it back to running it forward. You can also try to maintain the audio pitch, which actually means that it's not, you can try if that works, but it will not work in real time. It's taking the footage, which is slow audio, it's 25%, and is trying to avoid the pitch going down, and that's why it sounds really weird. So I don't like the option, the maintain audio pitch. I'd rather have the deep rock sound of the slow motion, and then I can just mute it or remove the audio. Okay, so that's the first thing. I'm going to bring those a little bit closer, and we'll later on just edit it somehow together with our footage. And here's one more, and now I'm also going to bring in my title, and I brought in the title just to put it on top of this video here. Bring in my title and put it right there. If you have a title, and I made it in Photoshop, it's just a plain text with a drop shadow on a layer, and when I bring it in and I select the piece of title, which is the same as if I have a still image or something like this, and I use right click and speed and duration, you can see right now it doesn't have the speed option because it is not a movie. It doesn't have certain frames per second, so you cannot talk about speed, but simply as duration. So if you want this title exactly to be 6 seconds, then you better switch it to 6 and 0, 6 seconds, and now it's precisely 6 seconds. It's a title, so you can put transition on it. You want to fade it in, fade it out, and of course you can also pour it longer or shorter. That is my to put the title and use the speed and duration. The last thing, and that is the piece of video that you have already seen, and that is the pan movement. Oh, it's not a pan movement. It's actually a it's a kind of pan movement on the cutting board with all the nuts separated. I had some fun with playing with the nuts on the board. This footage is 30 frames per second, so it's running in real time, so I don't need to slow it down or anything, but it is again 4K, and I've written it in the title, so we need to do a right click and check the scale to frame size, because it's that is the actual size that it's shot in. Now, what I would like to show you now, and therefore I'm going to zoom in again to my footage. Here it is. Now I would like to show you how you can change the speed of a video by not changing the speed of the whole clip. So when you want to change the speed of the whole clip, you just select it, go to speed/duration and change it, running faster, running slower, and so on. But what if I want to change the speed of the video, make it faster in some parts and some parts slower? Of course, I shouldn't use this footage because it's only 30 frames, so making it slower doesn't get me much quality, but I'm gonna keep certain areas in the original speed and take some and speed it up. So the parts where we actually see some nuts here in the frame, I'm gonna keep the original speed, and as soon as the nuts leave or start to leave, I'm speeding it up to the next raisins and so on. So I'm going to take the parts and give them different speeds. That will of course change the length, the total length of my clip a lot. And to do this, and it's called time remapping, and what you want to do is you want to make a right click, not in the middle here of the clip, but make a right click here on the FX button and choose time remapping, and you want to time remap speed. You can see right now time remapping, before you do this, here it's grayed out under effect controls, so you cannot change the time remapping, but as soon as you make a right click here and choose time remapping speed, you can change the speed of this video with a track underneath. And to make it more visible, I'm going to take the layout and my bottom video track, the one where the video is on, and make it larger so we can see it a bit better. So up here is the video track, and here is a line which represents the speed of my clip. And now I'm going to find the points that I want to put some keyframes, and you can see here the speed, and it's ready to be animated because the stopwatch is already turned on. And here's the add and remove keyframes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the first point where actually all the nuts are visible, and I hit keyframe. You can also get a keyframe with control click. So you move it to a certain point, like here, and hit Control click, and that adds a keyframe at this point in time. So this is between those two keyframes, the speed should stay the same. Now I'm going to continue all the way to here. Control click, adding another keyframe, or click here on the little keyframe button a little bit further, and this is the second keyframe. And now the almonds here, control click a keyframe and one more here and go. So now I have lots of keyframes, and I want to keep the speed, which is when it's in the middle, the speed is 100%. I'm going to take the lines between the regular speeds, and I'm going to speed them up. And up means I take the line and move it up. You can see the percentage, and I'm trying to reach 200%. It's not that precise. So between the two, it's 200%. Here also click and drag till, this doesn't matter where exactly we are, 200%, and also the last one, but there will not be too much movement going on, about 200%, and also in the very beginning, 200%. So my total length shrunk because I kept the speed the same way between the keyframes, and I speeded up the bit like in the other areas, so the whole thing got shorter. That means basically later on I have to get rid of my audio, but that is pretty simple. We did that in the last tutorial. Just hit unlink and select the audio and hit delete. There's no audio sound anyway. But you can already see if I now play it, I will have the original speed, then speeding up till here and speeding up to get this. I'm gonna make it even stronger. Oh, sorry, stop. So where am I? I'm still. So here is my clip. Let's make it even larger in space. So, and I'm gonna take those areas and even speed them up more. So 200, let's make them somewhere around 300%. So take this piece and the last one and the first one. So now they are much faster, and now the speed changes pretty immediately from 100% to 300 something to 100. So to make this more smooth, I'm gonna take the two gray parts here, and I move them slightly apart. Grab one, grab the other, and now you can see that the speed change at least changes slowly from one speed to the other. And you could even create a smooth curve, and when you select it, you see there's a handle, and you can adjust the handle. So it's not that precise. And the last one, so like this. So now I have this function, and here's actually the line, and you would have to zoom in a lot, and then you could change that. Now let's hit play, and you can see that it's here, then it's much faster to the next one, much faster to the next one, and we're gone. So this is with time remapping. You can adjust the speed of the video, not linear. So this is only a linear change with right-click, speed, and duration. And when you select it and you do a right-click on the effects, go to time remapping, you can see all the keyframes are all in here. So those keyframes, they actually stand for every change in speed. And when you open it up, you get the same curve here, and you can even adjust the curves, the values, the velocity 100% and faster and slower. Okay, so that's it for the simple introduction to speed and duration. So speed, whenever it's a regular video measured in percentage, 100%, or when it's a still video, just like the title that I added here, then you choose right-click and duration, and you set the duration, how long it lasts. Same with titles. Also, the same thing with transitions can also be adjusted, the length of a transition with speed/duration. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.